And I sneeze. Did you know that sneezing is apparently 1/8 of an orgasm? So it did not fucking feel like it.
Hey, listen!
Hello everyone and welcome back or welcome to my channel. My name is Shaq and today I'm going to be going through 30 books I want to read before I'm 30. So the day that this goes up will be the day before my birthday on Sunday the 12th of December. Fingers crossed, hopefully. Around my birthday, I tend to do like a birthday tag. I think last year I did like the Sagittarius book tag. And I couldn't really think of anything else that was like birthday-esque. But I did think about how my life is going so quickly. Existential dread did follow. But I was thinking about how much I am aging and how fast it's going. And I'm already almost 22. And you're obviously seeing this when this video goes up. I will be probably like 4 or 5 hours away from turning 22, which isn't old. I want to preface this video by saying I'm not old right now and I won't be old at 30. It's not like I'm going to be sad or anything, I don't think. Hello, Shaq. Are you watching this? Are you good? Are we good? But I kind of just wanted to reflect on the books that I still would like to read, which I haven't picked up yet. And there's always these lists online, you know, there's like 50 books that you should read before you die, and like people have reading bucket lists. So kind of count this as like my reading bucket list. Now, I always watch back my videos. I literally always do it. And if you're a content creator and you don't do this, number one, why are you lying?
Why the fuck you lying?
But I am an avid, self-professed, like, watching my own content back. So I know for definite I'm probably watching this back as a 30-year-old woman. So 30-year-old Shaq, before we get into this, I want to ask you a few questions. Number one, do we ever make content creation our full-time job? I really hope so. That's what I'm manifesting right now. I know I can do it. I know it's waiting for me if the timing is right and if it's actually what I need to do for my life. So do we do it? Are we there? I really hope so by 30. Do you have any children? That's a bit weird. Do you have any kids? Fur babies and pet babies absolutely count. So do you have any of those? And last of all, are you recovered from eating disorder? This is a bit blasé, a bit dark, and it's my birthday tomorrow. I don't really think about that. But I'm 21 right now, almost 22, and I'm getting there. So I hope we kind of like keep this momentum up and we keep going, you know? Are you okay? How's life? Anyway, despite that, 30-year-old Shaq, have you read these books I'm about to list off to my audience currently? I'm only 22. This is weird. This is a weird video. Is it a weird video? I'm not sure. Okay, so moving on to the books now. Number one, we have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I'm an avid believer in the fact that readers don't have to always read classics. Although Frankenstein by Mary Shelley is a classic I would love to read just because everyone talks about it, everyone says how good it is, and I want to join in. And I feel like I could like it, and it's such an inspiration that she published Frankenstein at 19. 19! Shaq babes. You're gonna be 30. Have you published a book? I hope so, actually. That'd be kind of sick. Have you? That'd be pretty pog. Pog? Who am I? I would like to read Frankenstein for two main reasons. Number one, it is a hyped classic and it is well loved, and I kind of want to see the reasons behind that. Number two, it's Mary Shelley and everyone simps over her, and I'd like to just join the bandwagon because I love women. Are you still queer? 30-year-old Shaq? Are we with a man still, or, you know, if we, these are two scissors. I'm gonna... Anyway, the next book on my 30 before 30 list is The Morbids by Ewa Ramsey. I'm so sorry for that butchered pronunciation. 30-year-old Shaq, have we got better at pronouncing things and Googling things before I film videos? Probably not. This is about our main character called Caitlin, who goes through a near-death experience. After this, I think that she's so afraid of dying that she just doesn't want to leave her house. Her relationships go downhill, you know, her job goes out the window, and she's just so encapsulated by the fear of dying that she doesn't want to go anywhere. She's still anxious, which is honestly fair. Like, that is a reaction that I probably would have. So Caitlin kind of thinks that she's alive by mistake. I'm guessing it's like survivor syndrome. And she meets like this group of people who also fear death, or it's something to do with death. They're called the Morbids, and she kind of like has group therapy with them, and I think it's chosen family, and I'm really excited to read this. Like I've already said, I want to read this for that element of Caitlin feeling like she's so afraid of death and being anxious, because I too have a massive phobia of death. But yeah, I really relate to Caitlin in that respect. Like, I fear death and quite anxious about it, and I'm anxious about illness just in general and like accident, and I'm really excited to read this and see if I can kind of relate in some way. Next we have The Divines by Liva Bray. This is based in 1926 New York, and it's very supernatural, found family I think, and a lot of people will rave about it on BookTube. I don't really want to know any more than that because of how hyped it is, and I don't want to get too many expectations, but I would love to read this one day, hopefully soon. I was meant to read it in October, but I went out the window for many reasons, and I would like to get to this someday before I'm 30. That's just the goal. Book number 4 is The Odyssey by Homer. I know Homer Simpson could write books. So Shaq, if Homer Simpson can write a book, then so can you. Anyway, The Odyssey is a well-loved classic. It's actually one of the oldest pieces of the literature. It follows a Greek hero called Odysseus and his journey home from war, essentially. I think it's like a collection of either short stories or poems, and it's very, again, well loved because everyone seems to love it, and I feel like I'm missing out. FOMO, but with literature. Next we've got Jane Austen. Now I've counted 3 like 3 books for this one because I've mentioned Little Women, Emma, and Pride and Prejudice. I love to read all of these because, again, a bit like Mary Shelley actually, a lot of people just love Jane Austen. They simp for her, they're gagging for a bit Austen, you know. But yeah, so I'd love to read Little Women, Emma, Pride and Pred, and that's kind of that because I want to read them all 3 of them. So moving on, because we just listed 3 books in like the same kind of thing with Jane Austen. Number 8, we have The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. I want to read this because it's very hyped on modern day booktube and book talking specifics, basically about a PhD student called Olive who's in her final year, and she just decides that she doesn't believe in love, I'm guessing because of like past experiences or anything like that, and then she meets her professor. He agrees to be her like fake boyfriend, and I'm kind of confused about the logistics of that situation and why that would be good for either of them. Nevertheless, I'm open to it. It's gonna be very sciencey, very nerdy, and I want to read it before I'm 30 because I feel like if I don't read it before I'm 30, everyone will just forget about it. Next, we've got another classic author. The book in specific I'd like to read from them is called Clara and the Sun, and it is by Kazuo Ishiguro. I think that's how you pronounce their name. This is about an artificial friend called Clara who is in like a shop, and I'm guessing in this world you can go into shops, browse like artificial friends and buy robots. Think Star Wars, but with depression. Basically, I think this book kind of like takes place in Clara's like subconscious, in her own thoughts and like in her point of view, going through her like her thinkings about the people who are coming out the shop and the kind of world that she lives in. Maybe more of a summer read, but I'm really down to try kind of anything, and I really would like to get into sci-fi before I'm 30. I don't know why that's a time frame. It's just because it's my birthday tomorrow. I want to read it, alright? There's no other explanation. I just want to be depressed and be in space. Next up at number 10, we've got Parent Yourself Again by Yongkangchan. I'm not really sure a lot about this. I saw this on Sarah, is it Schuster? She's like the Vine woman, but she's also really funny and amazing, and I follow her Instagram and she's amazing. I saw her recommend this book specifically. It's based on like a non-fiction self-help, but I don't really know a lot about it. I just thought the cover was really intriguing, the title's really eye-catching, and I think that if I'm gonna ever have children, it'll probably be after I'm 30 or slightly before, like 27, 30-ish. So I really would like to prepare myself if I do have children and kind of like do the work on myself before they come along, because boys are a lot to unpack here. Next is a heartbreaking book that I actually recently bought, and that is My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. This is about a student-teacher relationship, and the student in said relationship doesn't realise that she is groomed by her English teacher until years later, and loads of her classmates are coming out about it happening to them. So obviously the main character Vanessa feels like this was a love affair and that she wasn't groomed, but then later on she realises that actually that's what happened. I won't go into personal detail, but I had a very similar experience happening around me, and I want to read this book to kind of get like some trauma and emotions out in ways that I really don't really know how. And although I feel like this book is going to be very heartbreaking, it could be eye-opening for me and just kind of letting my parts of my trauma rest in a book. That'd be really nice. Number 12 is The Five by Hallie Rubenhold. This is actually on my December TBR because I unwrapped it during my video, so go ahead and check that out if you'd like to. But I unwrapped this book and I'm very excited to read it this month. It is basically what it says on the tin. It is a historical re-depiction or like re-education of the events of Jack the Ripper. This is a book following the women that he killed and telling their lives, their stories. Instead of just romanticizing Jack the Ripper and all of his heinous crimes, he ruined people's lives, he killed women, and this book is there to rectify that and to tell their story. Number 13 is The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. Of course, this is a classic based in a world where women don't have reproductive rights, and it's about our main character who does unspeakable things in order to speak and fight back to a government that doesn't respect her or doesn't think that she's worth anything. Next, we've got The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I have no idea what this is about. I still want to read it though because it's a little bit like Handmaid's Tale. Whenever Handmaid's Tale is recommended, The Bell Jar usually follows afterward. And also, Lisa Simpson has read The Bell Jar and I haven't. And Shaq, you're almost 30. I really hope you read it by now. Why are the Simpsons making such like an appearance in this video? I'm not sure. I don't know why. 15 is I Wish You All the Best by Mason Diva. Now, Mason Diva is a non-binary author, so it's they/them pronouns for them. But this is basically about Ben, who comes out as non-binary and is thrown out of their home. They find, I guess, solace in a chosen family. I'm not really sure of the intricacies of the plot, and I'd like to keep it that way because I want to be surprised. But it seems to me just like an adult or YA, like older YA coming of age story about a non-binary kid, and we need more of those, so I'm all for it. Next, again, I've kind of crammed two in one, and that is Roxane Gay. I would love to read Hunger and Difficult Women, obviously both by Roxane Gay. Difficult Women is basically like a collection of stories by women for women, so I'm really excited about that, obviously. And I also, secondly, would like to read Hunger. It's basically a memoir, I think, depicting Roxane Gay's struggle with her body image as a black woman, and I'm really excited to read that as well, just to get more introspective thoughts on how maybe ED, eating disorders, and body image is in correlation with black women. I do suffer with an eating disorder, but obviously there's more advocacy there that I'm not aware of, and everything has a hidden meaning, including our struggles, so we'd love to get more educated and relate at the same time. Next, again, I've kind of just listed an author. I'd love to read more from Stephen King. I have no experience in reading horror. Like, I've played a few video games that are horror related, kind of, but definitely with like especially classic horror and just horror in general, I would love to delve into more and see if books can really get under my skin. In a vlog that I did in 2020, I actually read some of my mum's favourite books in that vlog, and one of them was Pet Sematary, and so this made me really want to read more of Stephen King's books. The two I had in mind specifically were The Shining and It, and although these two books are like huge, they're mammoth, we've got 8 years to read them yet, so I hope at some point, like, fingers crossed, I can get round to more Stephen King books. Next, we've got The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. So this is about twin sisters who, one is of white heritage, she's Caucasian, and the other is black. It feels to me, and I don't want to like put this label on it or anything, or make comparisons or say it's something when it's not, but it feels like this plot is very reminiscent of Blood Brothers, because it's basically about two twins who are from different backgrounds but the same kind of like family, and seeing if nature or nurture like kind of like affects things. And obviously the twins will have different experiences because one is white and one is black. I'm not sure how that is possible, but if it's happening in a book, maybe it is possible. I think it's gonna be great. If it's not, that's fine, but I still want to read it anyway. Next, we have The Girl with the Louding Voice by A.B. Dare, or Dere. Basically, this is about a Nigerian woman who is trapped in a life of solitude, wanting to get an education. I think it's going to, again, have a lot of depth to it, but be very a hard read, I think. But again, it's one of those things that books can really help educate us, even if they are fiction, and I want to just like amplify other people's voices and get educated. Obviously, the work doesn't stop at fiction, but I love to see more, like, a diverse cast of characters and voices in fiction, in the fiction that I read at least anyway. This is kind of just me wanting to promote that even into my 30s. I really would like to just read diverse and from different experiences of life. Speaking of, the next one, 21, is Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q. Sutano, and it's basically about a main character who goes on a blind date, and I think out of maybe shock or surprise or just by accident, she murders her blind date. When I heard this, I was like, what the hell? I had to read it immediately. I had to buy it like right this second. The main character has 4 Asian aunties, and so she rings them up and they all come rushing to her aid to help clear up the murder and cover up the murder of her blind date. This sounds amazing, incredible, and silly, but also maybe have some layers. I like it. All right, next we got The View is Exhausting by Michaela Clemens, and this kind of has, I've been told, like Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo vibe. I've been told that it's quite good if you like that book, so I thought I'd put it on this list. It's about 2 A-list celebrities. I'm not sure the time period, but basically we're following Win and a playboy called Leo. They have this like whirlwind romance in the public eye, but what they don't know is that it's fake. Obviously that makes it different than the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, because that wasn't fake, sort of, but this is actually fake. Obviously there'll be some complications with it getting out and maybe like why they're doing this fake relationship, but I'm really excited to read this anyway because I haven't had a lot of people speaking about it, and I hope that I can kind of like up the hype if it's any good. At number 23, I have a book that I've been wanting to read for a very long time, and that is Disfigured on Fairy Tales, Disability and Making Space by Amanda Leduc? So I believe this is kind of like an analysis on Disney fairy tales and how they kind of like delve into ableism and their connections with it. And this might even like reimagine some of the stories to be a little bit more inclusive, which I'm obviously all here for. Again, I love reading from different perspectives, but I do want to read more from disability in books, specifically disabled characters, or even like, you know, analysis or commentary on ableism in society. And I feel like this is a really good start at least. Next at 24, we've got We Hunt the Flame by Hafsi Faisal. It's been marketed as a Mulan retelling because the main character Zafira is disguised as a man to help feed her people. It does give me Mulan vibes, but I'm not really going to expect that when I go into it, as I'm not really a massive retelling fan anyway. But I can see this being really good and like kick-ass, badass, feminist. I'm all here for it. Next is a very big classic, 25. There's only a few in here that I sprinkled in because they're actually interesting. Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde by Robert Louis Stevenson. Everyone and their mum has read this, and I haven't. I have never read Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde, even though everyone studied it for English class. I never did. We just didn't. We picked other texts and was done with it. But I would really like to read this because it's one of the most cited paid homage of literature too, and I'd like to just get the references, and also maybe it'd be something I can enjoy. If not, no hard feelings, no hard losses. I just want to see what the fuss is about, I'm gonna be honest. Number 26 is Tyler Johnson Was Here by J. Coles. This is about 2 brothers, I think, or friends at least, called Marvin and Tyler, who go to a party which turns really hectic and messy. It turns more sinister than the two of them imagined it would. There's a lot of content warnings around police shooting and police brutality, racism and stuff like that, like black trauma sort of thing. But it has been really hyped up for me, and a lot of people have enjoyed it and said it is really good representation. And so I thought I'd read it just because it was really interesting and I think I could learn something from it maybe. 27, we've got a book that everyone and their mother has also read, and that is The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Manson. Again, this is like a self-help book with a little bit of a twist where it's like got swear words in it, obviously the title. It's kind of like a fuck you to positivity and just I don't give a fuck, and I'm here for it, honestly, I really am. Only a few more to go now. Next up at 28 is Dreamland Burning by Jennifer Latham. I wanted to read it since 2017, which really says a lot about how behind I am on my physical TBR, because oh my goodness. So this is about a 17-year-old Rowan Chase who finds a skeleton in their family home. In the little Goodreads bio it says, she has no idea that investigating the brutal century-old murder will lead to a summer of painful discoveries about the past, the present and herself. I think that this kind of flips between past and present timelines. One where our main character Rowan is like discovering different clues about the murder, and then also back when the murder was actually happened. So I think it's like a dual timeline perspective. I'm excited to read it because I have wanted to read it for a long time. I've heard so many people talking about it, so many people saying it's really good, and I don't want to let this one go under my radar because it seems like it's going to be my thing. The penultimate book on this 30 before 30 list is Romania Blue by Julie Murphy. So this is about Ramona, whose life was completely changed when Hurricane Katrina, more like Hurricane Tortilla, when Hurricane Katrina struck their house. I think it's about Ramona questioning her identity, falling in love with others and herself, and kind of like getting over what Hurricane Katrina did to her family. Very excited about this one. I'm not sure how I feel about Julie Murphy's writing. I didn't really like dumpling or pudding or anything like that. I'm hoping this one is the one for me because a lot of people hype up her writing, and I hope this just hits, you know? And last and certainly not least on this 30 before 30 list is We Should All Be Feminists. Speaking from Maeve Wiley herself, this book is a must read. I think this is like a non-fiction account of what feminism is today and the reasons why we should all be feminists. It's been a while since I've read like feminist literature, and I really want to get into more before I'm 30 and kind of like progress with my views and the education that I've got, and I'd love to just read this one. It feels like a staple and I don't know why I haven't read it yet. Okay, so that's it. That is 30 books I would like to read before I'm 30. 30 is not old in the grand scheme of things, but I feel like in 8 years I would like to make some progress in the books that I've read and my reading taste, and be able to maybe say that I've read a couple of these, maybe all of them. I'd love that. I love that. 30-year-old Shaq, have you read any of these? Let me know in the comments maybe like 30 years from, no, it's not 30 years, it's 8 years, Shaq. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this video. Hope you liked it, and if you did, give it a massive thumbs up and make sure to subscribe to see any more bookish content. But for now, I will see you soon. Outros are always so difficult and make it difficult for myself every time. Hope you enjoy books that you pick up or anything that you manage to do, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.